I think I speak for most of us, right, that we don't want oppressors in GTA 6. I had a comment tell me that the Oppressor Mark II is required in GTA Online because it makes it easier to get around the map. Why not just use a helicopter or a jet? We don't need futuristic vehicles. And what do you think this person replied? That requires multiple inputs. With the Oppressor Mark II, I can fly across the map and scroll YouTube shorts while I'm flying.
Holy shit, that's the most brain-rot thing I've ever heard in relation to this game.
You know, if I said that the point of Grand Theft Auto Online was to sell shark cards, that would probably be about as hot of a take as this here White Claw I took out of my fridge. But I don't think we really appreciate the weight of those words. See, players are like running water. Generally, the greatest volume will follow the path of least resistance. Most of game development is basically just building a pipeline to direct all of your players to the point of your game. And usually, the point is just fun. Once you spend that $60, maybe you buy some cosmetics, maybe you buy a DLC, but ultimately, the time value you get out of that money is completely up to you, champ. A good game will give you limitless hours of game time. But the problem is that when a player gets something they're happy with, that decreases the chance they're going to buy something new. If the point of your game is fun, congratulations, you accomplished your goal. But if the point of your game is profit, then that fun is an obstacle. So, when you look at this here flying motorcycle, now valued at around $100 US, not including the upgrades that are basically mandatory, this here mosquito that buzzes around every lobby and sucks all the fun out. Well, if you're thinking that the Oppressor Mark II was some accident, some oversight by this multi-billion-dollar company left in the game for 3/4 of a decade now, well, when you say it out loud, it sounds kinda silly, doesn't it? My name is Mr. Cuckler. My background in game development consists of this White Claw I'm drinking and watching the old Bungie Vidocs from back in the day. I'm coming up on 4,000 hours in this game, and I've spent maybe 10 of those in a GTA Online that didn't have the Oppressor Mark II. And before the hype wave of GTA 6 completely washes away all of the transgressions and scams that Rockstar have pulled against their player base, I feel uniquely qualified to be the one today that really breaks down what's going on with the flying motorcycle that ruined GTA Online. The broomstick, the brain rot bike, the poster child of GTA Online, and the mosquito. The Oppressor Mark II was never an accident. You know, I really fucks with this planet that we live on. I think it's beautiful because everything seems to serve a beautiful purpose. We've got orcas, which kill evil things like dolphins and leopard seals. We've got cats, which take care of pets and make great companions. And we've got fighter jets, in case the aliens ever decide to test who is made in God's image. Generally speaking, we live in a perfect symbiotic ecosystem where everything seems to make sense. That is, until you are bitten by a mosquito. Then that all kind of falls apart because you have to wonder, why the fuck was this thing created? What role does it serve to annoyingly buzz around and suck the life out of everything around it and just generally make life less pleasant?
The level of agony.
$1 million question right there, and let me raise you an $8 million question. What role does the Oppressor Mark II fill in GTA Online? See, I can't really give you a very detailed breakdown of the Oppressor Mark II as a functional vehicle because flying bike that shoots missiles is basically the long and short of it, and that's kind of half the problem. There is no character to this vehicle. There is nothing interesting about it. It flies, but you don't have to stabilize it like a plane. You don't exactly feel like you're soaring. Meanwhile, you can park it and call it in as conveniently as a car, but you don't have to deal with traffic. It's literally just point in a direction and hold down the throttle and listen to that god-awful whining of the engine as you get there. Meanwhile, the combat is as simple as, if there's enemies, you point in a direction, hold down the missiles, and it generally does most of the work for you. If a game is supposed to be fun, why would you add something that removes all of the fun parts? The driving part, the flying part, and the shooting part, those are the fun parts of GTA Online. What use is there in a vehicle that does all of that for you? Well, clearly, my friend, you have never tried grinding in GTA Online, because that shit is so ass. It is unenjoyable because it's Rockstar's core game design, where the game basically plays itself. The game aims for you, it's called auto-aim. The mission design is follow the line and follow the exact prompts of what you're told to do. There's no critical thinking involved. And that is because Rockstar games as a whole are story games. So having a game design where the game just plays itself for you lets you focus on the story. But if there is a story to the online mission you're doing, you forget about it the 50th fucking time you have to do it just to afford a sports car. The core design of go to a place, kill the enemies, pick up a thing, go back to your property, doing that 10, 100, 1,000 times to buy all the things you want in GTA, it's not an enjoyable process, and there's very little you can do to make it more fun for yourself. You could try hard and grinding, but at the end of the day, you're just a rat running faster in a maze. But what you can do is make it a little more pleasant, make it comfortable. If the mission design does all the critical thinking for you, then a vehicle that does all the critical thinking for you fits into that design like a key into a keyhole. Enter the Oppressor Mark II. Sure, if fun is what you're after, reducing all movement in combat to hold the throttle and hold the missile button at the right time isn't exactly what you're looking for. But if you just want that process to be so quick and easy and comfortable that you can whip out Family Guy funny moments with your offhand and watch them while you make money, well, the Oppressor Mark II is your vehicle. Rockstar sold everyone a master key to all of grinding. Naturally, one that costs genuinely twice as much as the actual game when you game it all out. Except at the end of the day, even with the Mark II, the grind isn't very fun and it still consumes a lot of time. The incentive to buy your way through it is still there, but now Rockstar have made it to where anybody can grind because the Oppressor Mark II will hold their hand through it. If they fixed grinding as a problem, they couldn't make money off of the solution. Why solve a problem for free when you can solve it for a price? But if all that the Oppressor Mark II ever amounted to was just being an over-expensive miracle solution to grinding, it probably wouldn't be the most hated vehicle in all of gaming. Yet it is, and if you're wondering why that is, then I'm gonna assume you probably have never played GTA Online, because to this day, you probably only need to hop into one session to find out why. Turns out, when you hand the player base of Grand Theft Auto Online a way to kill each other that's very easy and does a lot of damage, you have now given the worst people in your player base a golden ticket to harass everybody else in the player base. And while we could discuss things like the Upside Down Mark II and if it's actually overpowered or you just need enough skill, the reality is that anywhere experience is applied is nowhere that Rockstar is concerned. They are trying to sell their $120 vehicle to the people that are most likely to buy it. And if players, as they flow like water, develop experience, yet that experience might be the very thing that leads them to outsmart buying shark cards, then your target market needs to be the people that never started flowing in the first place. Where do mosquitoes breed, if not stagnant water? And so what if I told you that the fact that the Oppressor Mark II became the greatest griefing menace in the history of gaming was probably the whole point? Rockstar Games are and always have been completely aware that the Oppressor Mark II is a griefing menace to GTA Online. They've made little callbacks to it in voice lines.
Have you ever tried shooting the missiles at the people on the flying bikes? Great sport here in America.
Then there was this interview between the Red Sparrows and some Rockstar employees.
And the devs really do see it. That's the thing. You know, people think that, you know, you put your feedback into this like abyss and it doesn't get seen, but like it all gets seen. Sign this petition or do this or do that, but really it's just go to the feedback site.
A lot of people were talking about the cooldown time for calling out an Oppressor MK2.
And so the question has always been, why don't they do anything about it? It took them 3-4 years. 4 Call of Duties came out before Rockstar even touched the vehicle itself, and all they did was marginally decrease the missile tracking. No matter what, Rockstar Games have never wanted to touch the Mark II's capability to destroy the casual experience of GTA Online. They are aware and they don't want it to stop griefing, and that is because vehicles that are good at griefing are the most profitable vehicles in this game. The Mark II is exactly what it was intended to be, and they knew it would work. And the reason they knew it would work is because of the deluxo. Now, if you're not familiar with this here DeLorean, then let me give you a detailed breakdown of the vehicle right here and now. It flies, but you don't need to stabilize it like a plane, you just have to point it in a direction and hold down the throttle, and its weapons are extremely high tracking missiles that do all the work for you, so you just point it at your enemies and hold down the missile button. Sound familiar? Now, the Deluxo, being released 6 months before the Mark II, was probably a lot more innocent in its creation. They wanted to make it fly like the DeLorean, but because it was so stiff, aimed weapons just didn't really work for this flight model, so they gave you missiles that just did the work for you. And especially if you played when this thing came out, you know the rest. Easy and does a lot of damage.
I find these missiles very overpowered, especially on the Deluxo.
Even up against a buzzard, it's really easy for them to still dodge, but if an other air vehicle goes up against them, they're gonna die because these missiles are so accurate. Just look at this, I stand no chance against these guys.
The Deluxo was instantly one of, if not the most popular vehicle in free mode, and simultaneously, it became the new face of griefing. So why is it that vehicles that are good at griefing become so popular, and where does profit fit into all of this? Remember that all money is shark card money. If a lot of people buy something, that's the most shark cards flowing towards it. But let's define griefing a little better. Griefing is not normal PvP, where it's about you being a skilled, i.e. experienced player, taking on another experienced player. It's a power fantasy built off of PvP via the path of least resistance, targeting those without experience who you know won't put up a fight. And the Deluxo fits this role like a key into a keyhole. Sure, it's not fast enough to catch up to most aircraft, and you won't always have enough missiles to whittle down an armored vehicle, but what this thing does best is target unweaponized, unarmored streetcars. And who would be driving an unweaponized, unarmored streetcars in GTA Online but somebody who can't afford anything else? Brand new, low-level, casual players. And who does Rockstar target with their shark cards? Rockstar Games love their griefers because their griefers are their best salesmen. And whenever a player, especially a new, impressionable player, is blown up by a weaponized vehicle, it is instantly communicated to them that that vehicle is powerful, thus valuable, vastly increasing their chances to buy it for themselves. And what happens when a brand new, low-level, inexperienced player gets their hands on a vehicle that's easy to use and does a lot of damage? So when you combine who uses the Deluxo, who it usually targets, and how much it's overall worth, congratulations, you have now created the most profitable vehicle in Grand Theft Auto Online. And with the success of the Deluxo, 6 months later, just like clockwork, Rockstar Games had to see if they could make lightning strike twice.
This car really has no purpose being in GTA Online. Like, think about it this way, like, what is Grand Theft Auto becoming? What are they gonna add next?
Welcome to GTA Online in 2019, where being destroyed by hoverbikes happens so often, you come to expect it.
This is a regular bike. This is what the Oppressor Mark II does to the regular bike.
This isn't just a rare occurrence, this is a constant problem. How one vehicle ruined GTA Online forever.
It really is crazy how this vehicle single-handedly ruined GTA Online.
Ruined GTA 5. Oh my god, a flying motorcycle with tracking fucking missiles?
All the Mark II really is just a power creep on a proven, successful formula. It's bad for the balance of the game, but that's not really how Grand Theft Auto Online is developed. It's a game second, business first. And the Mark II is the most successful product it's ever sold. So when you ask Rockstar why they haven't de-weaponized or just straight up removed it in the past 7 years now it's been ruining the game, well, you've answered your own question, and you might as well be asking Honda to stop selling the Civic. After all, rebalancing, unweaponizing, removing the Oppressor Mark II, fixing the game is free. And why solve a problem for free when you can solve it for a price? Let's talk about the Toreador. If there is anyone on this planet who is glad that mosquitoes exist, it is the humble bug spray salesman. Now, if you're not familiar with the Toreador, then I will give you a quick little breakdown right here and now. The Toreador, much like the Deluxo, is a missile car. Missile cars are cars that look like normal street cars, but are in fact high-speed, weaponized vehicles, characterized by the, you guessed it, missiles that they fire. These are high-tier tracking missiles. The best tracking missiles in the game, they will do 180s to hit their targets. These are the same missiles that the Oppressor Mark II has fired for most of its life, and poetically, they're also the best way to kill a Mark II. Ever since its inception, players struggled for a way to reliably and comfortably take out the Oppressor Mark II. It's too small and zippy to reliably land direct fire weapons, but it's far too fast and agile to reliably hit with standard missiles. The best way to kill it is to lob a missile that it literally can't dodge, and missile cars have historically been the best source. Now I could make a whole video on missile cars, but the one we're going to focus on is the scramjet. It can jump, it can boost, it's fast, sometimes it'll land you in a pool, and of all its skill ceiling, it has one unique trick that is caught on for pretty much every single scramjet user, particularly when killing Mark IIs. When the Mark II goes head on at you, charging you like a raging bull, you go head on with the Mark II and boost past it. Predictably, you will both fire missiles that turn on a dime against each other, but while the Mark II's missile will slam into the ground behind the scramjet's missile will find only open air, and then the Mark II's behind. Still, it wasn't a perfect solution. You could slam into a car, they could realize you're a scramjet and use countermeasures to get around you, and if anything went wrong, the scramjet doesn't have any armor. One missile and you're dead. This is, at least for the GTA community, a relatively high-skill vehicle. But still, players generally noticed that this was a relatively consistent way to kill the Mark II. And so did Rockstar. 2 years later, long after the Mark II had rooted itself as the plague of free mode, here comes the Toreador. Instead of 0 armor, now it has 6 missiles of armor. Instead of 30 missiles, now it has infinite missiles. They even gave it a generic car map icon, meaning Mark IIs can't predict what you are, and usually won't pop their countermeasures until the missile's already on its way to kill them. This thing was purpose-built to be a counter to the Mark II, and Rockstar were very obvious about it. It literally has a livery with Mark II kill tallies, and even the name Toreador is a clear reference to how a Toreador weaves past a raging bull, a direct nod to the move that the scramjet uses against the Mark II, and now the Toreador is literally built to do. But with the armor, the infinite missiles, and no map icon, the Toreador is a more casual-friendly scramjet. You'll have to take my word for it, but truly, I promise you, people would fucking hate the Toreador if the Mark II didn't exist. But because it was added as a clear counter to the Mark II, a lot of very naive GTA YouTubers made videos about how super cool the Toreador is. I guess we were just so happy that now we had a consistent counter to the Mark II, we didn't really think about the implications of the fact that Rockstar didn't just fix the Mark II, they chose to add a vehicle that profits off the existence of the Mark II. Their new magic missile car that costs the literal exact same amount of money as the $50 shark card. Huh. Now, don't get it twisted, I still love using this vehicle, and it's still really fun to use. But the question you have to ask is, would you rather have the Mark II and the Toreador, or just no Mark II? I think that's a pretty easy answer for most of us, but for Rockstar, it's either have a vehicle that might sell worse, or have 2 vehicles that sell really well. And if you think we're done, there's one more category of vehicle that I will put my foot down and firmly say is the most transparent example of Rockstar Games using the flaws of GTA Online to sell new products. The biggest scam they have ever pulled on the player base. The Immani Tech car. There are 3 types of vehicles that you will see in free mode today. Oppressor Mark IIs, Toreadors, and Immani Tech cars. In adding the Oppressor Mark II, they have created a miracle weaponized vehicle for all of grinding, and simultaneously, a vehicle that is purpose-built to grief and attack especially random street cars. With the Toreador, they added a way to avenge it, but it's not preventative medicine because you're not going to be driving a Toreador all the time. The thing that neither of these vehicles fix, and that one of them especially destroys, is the fact that what you want to be driving in Grand Theft Auto Online is a car. That is the core problem of GTA Online as a whole. One of the greatest core issues of GTA Online is the problem of mashing the 2 worlds of a weaponized sandbox and just driving around in street cars together. They just don't work because you can't do one if the other is present, especially because of the Mark II. Now, what they could have done, and the idea that has been offered for years by channels as big as literally Astro Soup, is to simply make a new free mode. One free mode that allows for weaponized vehicles, and one free mode that's more about cars and handheld guns. The weaponized flag exists within the game's code already. Simply apply that to do different types of free mode matchmaking. This would fix that core problem of GTA Online. And why solve a problem for free if you can solve it for a price? 3 years after the Oppressor Mark II and 1 year after the Toreador, enter the Immani Tech cars, a class of vehicle that ever since they came out, Rockstar have been going all in on, adding constant new additions with every single update. They look like normal street cars, but they're some of the fastest cars in the game. Some have more armor than tanks, and they can't even be locked onto. These are cars made to fit the toxic hellhole that Rockstar have created, while still selling players the fantasy of driving a normal car. They fit that core problem like a key into a keyhole, and they are the most expensive cars in the game that require a multi-million-dollar property just to upgrade. And at this point, Rockstar have saved the effort of even modeling new cars. Now, through the multi-million-dollar agency property, you can upgrade some of your existing cars. I really want you, the viewer, to internalize what it means that the people who added the Oppressor Mark II in the first place, and have been listening to people for years now complain about how Mark II missiles have been taking away their ability to drive around in street cars. They've added a way so that way unweaponized street cars can't be locked onto by missiles, and they're charging it to you for $10 per car. When you describe a problem with GTA Online to Rockstar Games, you are giving them a solution that they can solve for a price. Many of the decisions that Rockstar make are based under the guise of feedback and experience improvements, but they don't track at all with making the game more fun. For example, when they removed 196 cars from the in-game stores, they linked it under experiential upgrades based on extensive player feedback. You're telling me that players were complaining there's too many cars in the in-game stores? But upon reading it, you'll see that they said they took the lesser used vehicles and placed them in event podiums, the Lucky Wheel, and other places. The other places, which they deliberately did not name, include the Vinewood Garage, where now you can always find at least one of those 196 removed cars for sale. Previously, you could just buy that car on the in-game store, but now, when you walk up to it, you will be linked to the real subscription service, GTA Plus, you need to pay for just to be allowed to buy this car. Rockstar Games is quite literally and blatantly selling you your own content back to you. And even when they use real player feedback to fix the game, there's usually an ulterior motive. There was the nerf to the laser and hydra cannons. Now, players have wanted these two planes nerfed literally since the launch of GTA Online, but Rockstar waited just about a decade to finally nerf them. And when they finally did, it was conveniently in the same update that they introduced the brand new, most expensive fighter jet in the game, the Raiju. Take it from a GTA aviation YouTuber, the #1 reason people don't buy new planes in this game is because they are perfectly happy with the laser and the hydra. The player base has long since collectively spent their money on the laser and the hydra. Nerfing them was more of a matter of removing competition for their new product, the Raiju. See, for developers, feedback gives them a bearing on how to improve their experience. If the point of a game is to be more fun, then they can use that feedback to make the game more fun. But if the point of your game is to be profitable, then that feedback will tell you how to make the game more profitable. Tell us what problems you have so we can sell you a way to fix them. This is GTA Online in 2025. The long quiet of an unnatural death. To say that free mode feels hollow is an understatement. The player base didn't realize they were being bought out of long-term interest. That when you buy an Oppressor Mark II, you've now bought the very reason that 90% of what you grind for is useless. And what GTA has been for the last few years and will continue to be until it finally dies is constant new things, constant motion, yet no investment. Ultimately, the brain-rotting of GTA Online is just the inevitable entropy of corporate video games. I certainly got a glimmer of hope when they released the Titan 250D, but then, when that plane didn't seem to have sold well because of the whole tail debacle, and then it's an aircraft that requires at least 2 people in a game that now largely caters towards solo play. All of that to amount to the plane just getting nerfed. And given that my video had by far the most views on the little glide exploit they removed from the plane, I think it's safe to say that Rockstar used my video to nerf the plane. That wouldn't really piss me off if not for the fact that we're going on a year now where the much more popular God Mode Corvette exploit is still ruining free mode. That God Mode exploit probably isn't exactly hurting the sales of the Corvette. So I've kind of been at an impasse for, well, as you can see, 6 months now, where I don't really know what to make. I'm not proud of generating interest in a predatory game. GTA Online is so beautiful and interesting. This game was so clearly made with passion at one point, but now it's just dust and echoes. The player base is trapped in amber. They can only be casual players at this point, because when they do find something interesting and fun, a remnant of the old Rockstar that cared about this game, they will quickly realize it has long since been made obsolete. I'm not telling you not to buy GTA 6. The story game is probably going to be just fine. But for the online, just think about every single vehicle that has been made obsolete in GTA Online in the past 10 years that people spent shark cards on those things thinking they were the best thing in the game. It's just financially dumb because it's ultimately a bottomless pit. But beyond that, dude, go play Battlefield. Alright, go play Helldivers. Don't worry about any of this. Go have fun with friends. Go enjoy games that are made to be games, made to be art, even if they're flawed. Ultimately, just internalize what it is when you play a game and you put in your time, you put in your money, and all it asks for in return is that you have fun. I am not planning for this to be my last video. I guess I just need to find my own path of least resistance moving forward. There are projects that heaven and earth cannot stop me from making. And you fine ladies and gentlemen who have sat through my crazy psychotic rant up until this point, maybe even if you disagree with me and think I'm making all this shit up, just go off and stumble. Enjoy video games, enjoy the world. There are better things on the horizon. I promise. And they're coming a lot sooner than you think. So have wonderful nights, have wonderful days. I'll see you again.